Yes, that's correct, 12:30. No, I'm not aware of that. One moment, please. Hi, Fariba.
Good morning.
Good morning. The boss wants to talk to you.
Come in.
Good morning.
You need to think about moving if you're going to keep being late because of the traffic.
My alarm didn't go off this time. Seriously. Believe me, Tony.
Have a seat.
I promise this is the last time. I promise, Tony.
Have a seat. I read your file again last night. You graduated from the School of Journalism at the University of Michigan. You've done internships in both Egypt and the Middle East. 3 times you received praise for your work done in Iraq. Of course, the last time was because of my own recommendation.
You've always been good to me.
I want a precise documentary based on the facts.
About my tardiness?
About the 1988 massacre in Iran.
I've only been back from Lebanon 6 months. I'm not going to go to Iran. Not after I made it back alive from Iraq and Lebanon. I don't want to end up like Ziba Kazemi, making the headlines with my death.
Nobody does. You have to go to Europe, Australia, different cities in America, anywhere there's a survivor living. This trip can be very interesting for you. There's not going to be any war, no bullets, no guns. There'll be no attacks against your life like in Iraq or Lebanon.
I'm sorry, Tony. Jeffrey and I made plans 3 months ago. Big celebration and then 2 weeks in Hawaii.
You finally found your fish.
Actually, Jeffrey thinks he found a mermaid.
Having a bit of luck is something money can't buy.
Wisdom, intelligence, sophistication, plus beauty.
Wow. Luckily, you're the whole package.
Oh, this isn't coming from me. It's all Jeffrey.
I said it's a bit of luck. Now, when is this disaster going to happen?
In exactly 2 months.
2 months? You can go to Mars and back. This report needs to be ready in 3 weeks.
I'm sorry, Tony.
Please.
I can't.
Please. Christopher's program is a nightmare for us. The Islamic Republic of Iran denied all of the claims of the Iranian opposition. You need to make a documentary based on the testimonies of the survivors. We're up against the Iranian government. They've got tons of money, some of the best lawyers in the world.
Please, Tony. I can't. I'm sorry.
Even though you grew up here, you're still Iranian, at least on your father's side. Isn't that why you wrote your thesis on the Middle East? You're familiar with their culture, their habits, the behavior. You'll be able to tell if they're lying or speaking the truth, if they're a friend or foe. You've lived with them in Lebanon, Egypt, and Iraq.
The ones I lived with spoke Arabic, not Farsi. They weren't Iranian.
What about your father? He was Iranian. He spoke Farsi. What about Mujahideen in Camp Ashraf? Weren't you in contact with them? Isn't this your report? After the bombings of the camps, didn't you go there with the American soldiers for the broadcast? In addition to the problems this causes us, if this massacre took place, it's a crime against humanity.
I'm sorry, Tony. I promised Jeffrey all the arrangements have been made. I can't.
I'll give you John as your cameraman, the one from Paris, the one you used in Iraq.
I can't. Jeffrey will never let me. He won't let me go.
He'll have to. Otherwise, he'll lose his mermaid.
Awful. I'm gonna tell Jeffrey.
Well, then you can forget about a wedding gift.
Ah, you men!
You can get in contact with the Mujahideen headquarters in Paris. Elizabeth has the number.
Where's Fariba?
She's upstairs.
Come in. Hey, Jay.
Are you okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good.
So, it's serious?
I didn't have a choice. I mean, I had to accept.
I'm gonna talk to him. He doesn't own you. You just work for him.
Darling, I want you to understand. This is my job.
There are more important things than work. Like our life. Our friends. Family. Relatives. Our parents. All the preparations and reservations that we made. The photographer, the catering. It hasn't even been a few months since you got back from Lebanon.
Jeffrey, I totally understand. And I agree. But life is life. I mean, this is my job.
And if they don't let you return? If something happens to you, then what?
No,
If you become another headline, the pain and heartache will be mine, not Tony's. Zara Kazemi. Haleh Asfendiyari. Those 3 young American hikers. Have you ever thought how this would affect me? I will be the one who suffers.
I'm so happy I'm gonna marry you. I'm so happy I waited this long for you to come into my life. I mean, I love you, Jeffrey. With all my heart.
Don't go, please. I'm worried.
If it was Iraq or Iran or Lebanon, I totally wouldn't go. But it's just Europe. I'm going to France and Germany and Sweden. It's just for 2 weeks. Huh?
Are you telling me the truth?
Yes, Jay. I promised myself I would never lie to you. And it's just 2 weeks. Huh? Okay?
I have a lot of practice to do.
Practice what?
To learn how to say no to you.
So what's your name?
Ahmad.
I knew it. An Arabic name.
You can call me whatever you like. Kambiz, Kurosh, Kekavus. It doesn't matter to me.
I don't have much time. Will you please tell me where and when our first interview will be and with whom?
1 p.m. today, somewhere fitting.
Well, wherever that is, we have to get permission to film there.
I understand.
Well, so will you give me the address?
If it's alright with you, I can pick you up at your hotel around 12:30.
My cameraman and crew are waiting at the hotel. I need to give it to them. Hello, John? I'm Fariba Mohajer reporting for KFB. I'm here to investigate the 1988 massacre in Iran. That is, if such an event actually took place. The first person I've been introduced to from the National Council of Resistance is here with us today. Majgan is a confessed survivor of that massacre, and she's been living in the United Kingdom for 20 years as a political refugee. She's joined us in Paris, France today, especially for this interview. Majgan, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
I hope that what you tell me today is based on your own personal experience and not just hearsay.
You can be certain of that. I have already spoken with Brother Ahmed about that.
I don't understand the difference between you all and the mullahs. I mean, brother, sister, headscarves, daily prayers, fasting. Am I right?
The difference is in our thoughts, our beliefs, and our viewpoints. Stalin didn't pray, and he didn't even believe in God. Unlike Khomeini, who wouldn't first speak without saying God's name. But in reality, they were both the same. One of Khomeini's many crimes was that he misused words. Freedom, religion, sister, brother, martyrdom. We are fighting for these things. We want the words to convey their true meanings once again. We want the clear boundaries between religion and hypocrisy, spiritual men and mullahs, civilization and religious law to be clear. We don't want people to be judged by their appearance, but by their beliefs and their actions.
Khomeini said nicer things when he first came into power.
It was because of those nice things that he said that he was able to win people's support. But it was because of his actions that people turned against him and he was forced to accept the bitterness of defeat.
He accepted the bitterness of defeat because of international support for Iraq to stop the war.
That's what the Islamic Republic says. But the reality and the facts are that people were restless and didn't want to fight anymore. The Iran-Iraq war ended in 1982 with the take of Khorramshahr and the defeat of the Iraqi army. 6 years later, the war was Khomeini's war to conquer Jerusalem, by way of Karbala, and to expand the Shiite empire.
Jerusalem?
Yes. With mullahs acting as leaders.
So, are you still a part of the Mujahideen?
I was in 9th grade when I joined in 1980.
9th grade?
2 years later, while I was in class, they came and took me to Evin prison. Throughout the time I was in jail and later in exile, I have never left them. I still support them.
John, can we take a walk?
Yes, we could take the wireless microphone.
Oh, thanks. How many years were you in prison?
November 1981 until February 1988.
Evin prison?
Evin, Gezelzar, Guardasht. And because I was such a good kid, I was given an official tour so that I could enjoy my stay more.
So do you like London more or do you prefer it here?
There is no place like Iran. Not having a country makes you lose your identity.
Gary. Dustin Johnson was in a bunker down the other side of the green, had a bad line, blasted all the way over, and you guessed it, took an aim under Dustin Johnson. Good shit. Get there, man.
So, do you remember when it all started?
It was mid-July. I don't remember the exact date. There was a lot of speculation and a frightening silence. The closing of the prison walls and cells, the disappearance of newspapers, the confiscation of TV 2 weeks prior. Above all, there was the roar of those damn loudspeakers that would never shut off.
What do you mean, they never shut off?
I mean, they were calling prisoners' names constantly over the speakers. 150 people were called up until that day. The ones that were called disappeared and never returned. We never knew what became of them. As usual, they would call us after our morning prayers. That day, they called me and 4 other prisoners. For 2 hours, I sat against the wall of the prison cells, the other sisters. We were 10 in total, and we were waiting to be called by the Hayat Af.
What's the Hayat Af?
That's what the regime calls them. The literal translation implies that they were setting us free, bringing us mercy. But really, they were a group of people planning our executions. This wasn't the hallway of the courtroom. I was sure of it. Many hours I sat in the corridor of the courtroom, bloody and swollen, waiting for my interrogations to end. This wasn't that place.
Get on the floor! Sit down. Hey, Joan of Arc.
You're talking to me?
Yeah. What's your name?
Mojgan.
Okay, Mojgan, get up. It's your lucky day.
Sit down.
What is your name?
Mojgan.
Your real name?
Mojgan.
What is your crime?
Supporter.
Supporter of who?
Mujahid.
Take your eye cover off. You can open your eyes. Stand up. Pay attention. I'll ask you one more time. What is your crime?
There was a moment of silence, and 3 men stood staring at me. And the memory of 6 years behind bars suddenly passed through me. I remembered the people who fought with me, all battered and bruised. My cellmates who, on the day of their executions, were raped.
Raped?
Yes. The mullahs believed that killing a virgin is a sin. They say that if a young girl dies a virgin, she goes to heaven, even if she has spent her life in sin. They would assign a god to wed them and make sure that none of the girls died virgins. They would wed on the same day as their executions to their
Make sure they don't lose us.
They're behind us.
We should have told them where we were going.
I did. Before you came, I gave them the address to the church.
Church?
They didn't allow us to film at Versailles.
Too bad. It would have been fitting to talk about the massacre of Iranian revolutionaries from inside the chateau of Louis XVI. That would have been interesting, don't you think?
The revolution was led by the people of Iran, not the mullahs. But the massacre was done by the mullahs against the people.
As long as blood is in our veins, Khomeini will be our leader. Isn't that what the people chanted? I remember from when I was a child.
Yes, but that was when Khomeini was sitting under an apple tree in Neaufle-Château in France. Not the Khomeini sitting on his throne of the Bani Umayyad's clerical dynasty, looking down on the people from his balcony in Jamalan. It was when he wanted his military officers to be their own men and stop being slaves to foreign military advisors. Not the Khomeini who organized a martial court on the rooftop of Rafah's school and executed top military personnel without any trial or jury.
From what I've heard and read, those executions, all the attacks against the Air Force, the disarming of the police, the looting of weapons from military bases, the execution of military personnel, were all done by people like you who were trained in Palestine.
No, it wasn't the Mujahideen. Because the last political prisoners to be freed from prison were 100 to 110 members of the Mujahideen, and it was on January 20th, 1979.
Were the others freed before then?
There were no others. Most members get martyred by Savak or sentenced to death in a formal court.
Are you trying to say that those killings before the revolution and those who were executed in the name of the revolution under Khomeini's regime were not supported by your people?
There was a time of war. A war by the government against its people. A struggle for freedom that started with the assassination of Nasser al-Din Shah and will surely continue until we achieve our freedom.
How can you be so sure?
From history and from the past century. The constitutional revolution, the nationalization of oil by Mohammad Mossadegh, the constant struggle from the coup in '53 till the bloody revolution in '79. Our people will not stop until they gain their freedom. Sattar Khan, Kochak Jangali, Mossadegh, and thousands more.
Wow, we definitely didn't run out of things to talk about. I had planned to listen to Mashgan in order to prepare my questions. The person I'm scheduled to see today, is it a man or a woman?
A woman, about 47 years old. She's got 2 great kids. A boy and a girl.
Is her husband Mujahid as well?
He was executed in '88 during the massacre.
So her children must be from a second marriage.
No, Reza was 2 years old when she got arrested. And Mitra was born in jail. She devoted her life to her children after they executed her husband and she got out of jail.
You mean she was pregnant when she got arrested?
5 months.
This was not a revolution. This was a riot against a system that was trying to modernize a poor country.
It was July 5th, I remember. It was 11 p.m., I remember it clearly. They called 5 of the girls over the speakers. Mariami Sakhari, Sakhara Falakhati, Fariba Umumi, Omar Radmanesh, and another tall, beautiful girl who was brought in from confinement from Gohardash prison the night before. We were all in the same room when she got up to go. We were all looking at each other in silence. One moment she looked back and caught my eyes. I will never forget the look on her face, and nobody slept that night. It was the time for morning prayers, when that damn loudspeaker called the names of a few prisoners. Those were the prisoners who were facing serious charges and had heavier cases. We slowly began to believe that there was something terrible going on, especially since the 5 who had been taken away the night before had not returned. Tragedy was on the tip of our tongues. No one had the courage to speak of it. It was unreal, especially since most of our sentences had been served out and we were supposed to be released. Paris is just like London, especially in spring. Please come in.
Ah, it's lovely.
It is small but cozy.
It's beautiful. So, is your brother also Mujahid?
No, but he is also a supporter. He lives in Paris and works for the government.
Hello? Go ahead, I can hear you. We can get there in 10 minutes. Alright.
Is something wrong?
No, we won't be late. They need to get some gas. We're going there now.
The truth is that the majority of those who over the 7 years resisted were tortured more than the others that were executed. Many of them were living proof of Khomeini's atrocities. Faranas was just one of them. The soles of her feet had hair.
Hair?
After her first interrogation, her feet were mutilated to the point that they had to take skin graft from her thigh.
Mutilated? Why?
From whips, cable wires, and not just that. In the year 1984, because of her resistance in prison, she was taken into solitary confinement for 2 years. Her whippings were non-stop. She would say laughingly that her torture had become monthly rations for her. This was the case of the Simendok, Gianni, or the Ferengis, when we learned about the Shell Sharok operation.
From TV?
From our families that visited. One of the prisoners had created a hand-woven design with 40 flowers in it and a poem sewn into it. At night they move like a storm to rob the scenery of life. But the tulips are all that remain, while everything else passes on. God rest her soul. She was taken with the second wave of executions.
How did you survive?
Fate. Destiny. When I came out of court, somebody took the hose from one of the guards.
Give it to me.
It was Moshtaba Halvai. Recognized him by his voice. He was a subordinate to the head of security of Evan. He was the guy. Later I discovered that he was in charge to carry out many of the executions. He took me to the stairways that led to the second floor. It was dark and quiet.
Pull up your blindfold. Look at me. Have you thought why they're bringing you all back to court?
I don't know.
Who are the deceitful ones amongst you in your cell?
I don't know. Nobody ever comes to tell me what they think. I'm not interested to know.
Why did you say your crime was Mujahid's supporter?
But what should I have said?
Munafik.
Why?
Because they execute Mujahid. Are you a virgin? Did you hear what I said? Have you been married before? Did you marry? It is not written in your file. You did not mention that you were a virgin. Why?
My husband was an addict.
I do not want you to be executed.
We have to see what he would prefer.
You.
God.
I'll send you to your cell.
It's a good thing you didn't have children at such a young age.
I lied.
Why? About what?
About having been married.
Why lie?
I was trying to spare myself the rape before the execution.
God. What happened next after you went back to your cell?
The woman that was guarding our cells was foul and vulgar, named Rahimi. I think it was a false name. She didn't let me back into my cell. They placed me in solitary confinement.
Why?
They didn't want the others to know what was happening. I was in solitary confinement for 2 months. One afternoon, while I was in the middle of my prayers, the bars were lifted. Allah Akbar.
May your prayers be answered. I've arranged for a visitor to come see you.
Who?
Your father. If you are lucky, they'll add your name to the Imam's pardon list. Tomorrow at 10, they'll take you to Hosseini. Your father told me everything. He's a very worldly man. You should listen to him.
I did listen to him. It didn't take long for my family to postpone for my release with the promise that I would be the second wife of Mustafa Halvai.
And did you agree?
I wish I hadn't. The night that I was released, I went to Urumia city with my brother. And 2 days later, I arrived into Turkey. My father had arranged everything.
So why did you regret accepting the marriage proposal?
My father, he knew what the outcome would be. He knew that he would have to risk his life for my freedom. But I didn't.
Did they kill him?
died under torture. They wanted the name of the smugglers who helped my brother and I escape. My brother became my guardian. And my father paid a big price for us to be saved. Those whippings and his refusal to speak have made up my nightmares for the past 20 years.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Fariba.
Very much so.
Thanks for the compliment.
I'm being serious. You're a very beautiful woman.
If I had gotten married earlier, I would have grandchildren by now.
You must be an excellent reporter. You're very quick on your toes.
I'm surprised you speak such good English. Ahmed said you've been living in France for a long time.
Before I was arrested, I went to Tehran University, an English major. The first 10 years after I left Iran, I lived in London. My children went to school there.
Good morning.
Good morning. Brother, do you feel like this is the right place to talk?
What do you think?
While you were talking, you mentioned Monire Rajavi. Was she related to Masoud Rajavi?
She was Masoud's sister. They executed her husband in order to make Bess.
Confess?
To make her interview against her brother's organization. But she didn't. She stood strong like a mountain. Before they executed her husband, they let them meet. When she came back from that visit, although she was pale and shaky, she still had a smile on her face. If I hadn't witnessed it myself, I never would have been able to handle Nasser's execution.
How old were you when you got married to Nasser?
19, when I attended university. I met him during the first year of school during the uprising of the Shah. He was in his 4th year of medical school. He was active and motivated. He believed that freedom was vital as water to a fish. He was well known and loved amongst our community and school. Everybody loved him.
Did you love him?
More than my own children.
Was he Mujahid back then?
During those times, people only spoke about the Mujahideen. The two main groups that were active were the Jabhat Mellah and the Tideh. From the Mujahideen, there was very few that were able to survive the Shah Savak, and those that did were released January 20th, 1979, just 10 days before the revolution was won. I had only heard of Masoud from the Mujahideen. It wasn't until I attended the large gathering at Amjadiyeh and heard him speak that everything changed. It was eye-opening for me and the 30,000 or so that were there.
What about your husband? Did he become a supporter then?
Nasser connected with them during the university raids. He had always had strong religious beliefs, mostly because of his family. Not that he was a fanatic like the mullah.
So how could you marry him? Aren't you Christian?
Yes, I am. But like I said, Nasser was not a fanatic. He was a very open-minded Muslim, just like his father. He was a poet, writer, and even though he was an electrical engineer, he was very spiritual and into poetry. When I was released, I found out that they had given his belongings to his father. He had a heart attack and died a few months later. He loved Nasser. Nasser was very special to him, the apple of his eye. He leaned on him and knew that Nasser would always be his ally, especially in old age.
I wish I could meet your children. Can I?
If you go to Ashraf, you can definitely meet them.
Ashraf?
City of Ashraf, Iraq.
Do you worry about them?
No. I just miss them.
Get up. Put on your chadors. He's coming, brother.
Turn on the light. Everyone get in line, facing me. We know who it is, but we want her to come forward and identify herself. Who hit our sister guard?
She didn't hit her. She moved her arm out of the way because she yanked her hair.
Who was the one who moved away our sister guard's arm? Do you know?
It was me.
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 Whoever I call, take a step forward. You. 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 And you. The rest of you in the hall.
From the 7 people that were taken to that room, only Zohar Haj Ismaili, Ashraf Fadoyi, and myself were conscious by the end of the whippings. Mojtaba Hawaii and the guards had beaten them so badly, they fell to the floor almost dead.
Did he break any bones?
They were very good at what they did. They knew just where to strike us. Backs, thighs, ankles. One girl got struck on the face. She was 17. She was a sweet-looking girl. She got cut badly just above her eye. They finally stopped when they realized she was bleeding from the face, but Mojtaba took us 3.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
It was so painful I grew limp. I fell to the ground like a corpse, but Mojtaba started beating me to get up. My legs weren't mine anymore. I couldn't have used them if I wanted to. I sobbed uncontrollably. Maybe if Zohre hadn't screamed, my heart would have stopped beating.
What was she screaming?
She was screaming for them to stop hitting me. She yelled, "It was me." The next day, they took Ashraf and me back to our original cells, and they took Zohre to court. The court sentenced her to another whipping.
For what?
For hitting a guard. That same day, they laid Zohre on the bed and gathered the rest of the girls to watch. They hit her 70 times, and she only wept quietly. The girls stood with their heads facing the ground. None of them could even watch. Resistance and struggle against brutality was not only in our jail cell, it was everywhere. In prisons such as Evin, Gohardasht, Gezel Hesar, in prisons in cities such as Gom, Mashhad, Shiraz. From the beginning of March 1987 until the massacre in 1988, the resistance continued every day more than the day before. I remember one day before the massacre, Malihe Gavami got into an argument with the female guard in our cell. The female guard mocked Malihe, and you know what she did?
What did she do?
She threw her hot tea in the guard's face. The guard smiled, but left with a frown. That day, we thought the regime had grown tired, or at least their guards had. What we didn't know was that they were in the midst of planning the massacre, and all of their guards were in on it. From our cell, the first prisoner who was taken was Zohre Hajizare. It was July 26th. In the following days, they took me and 7 other prisoners to the court. Molore Shari was present. In the hallway, from beneath my blindfold, I could see some of the other prisoners that were in Gezel Hesar with me. Farinaf Sarfchi, Zohre Bishanyar, Mansoure Moslehi, Mabobe Haj Ali, Sohela Mohammed Rahimi, many, Furu and Azadeh Tabib, whom I knew well. What a shame. That's Zaha Rajabi's grave.
Rajabi?
No, Rajabi with a B. She was a member of the Leadership Council for the Mojahedin. She was killed in Turkey. She was killed by Iranian terrorist agents.
What was she doing in Turkey?
She was assigned by the Mojahedin to look after the refugees.
So, can you tell me how many were killed in the massacre?
You would have to check the archives for the exact figures after this regime is over and done with.
And you're hopeful that will happen?
I'm certain of it. Hitler, Pinochet, Stalin, Ceausescu, Pol Pot. What dictator has ever been able to sustain a power? Milosevic? Where are they? What happened to them?
You were saying?
From our cell block, which had 3 units. Each unit had more than 300 prisoners in it. After the massacre, there was only 200 or 250 left. Everyone else had been executed. Malihe Gavami, Mojgan Sorbi, Monire Abedini, Parivash Ha'eri, Monire Rajavi. I could name them all day. Bibi Hamdan Azimi, Shurangis Karimian. More than 30,000 executed in 1 month. Ages 15 to 30. Maybe more. Fereshte Hamidi. They used to say she looked like a doll. She had eyes as blue as the sea, just like yours. Ashraf Fadoi. I remember every minute with her. We stood together in the hallway of death behind the court. I can still hear her say, "Now it's my turn."
Stand facing the wall. Name. Name.
Sore.
Family name.
Hajmir Smiley.
Crime.
Supporter.
Supporter of who?
The organization.
Which organization? Which organization? Are you deaf?
The Mojahedin organization.
Say the Halk part, you devil. You should change your name. The devil suits you more.
Then I wouldn't know what to call you.
You will figure out soon enough. Don't worry. Face the wall. Name.
Ashraf.
Family name.
Fadoi.
They sent Ashraf to Gohardesht as well.
Did she survive?
The person who's committed the crime of being a supporter of the Mojahedin is sentenced to death. All of the people who are killed show the mark of the Mojahed on them. That day, I didn't know what it meant to be sent to Gohardasht. It's code. The place where the killings took place is called Gohardasht. The Gohardashti are taken into the prayer room, where they're killed.
What about Fereshte? Was she killed too?
Fereshte confessed her crimes proudly. She confessed to be Mojahed.
Wouldn't it have been better if we'd asked Ali Riza to come to Paris?
It's my fault. I didn't tell him in time. He wasn't able to take time off work. He's one of the employees of the museum.
Museum?
The French government is preserving the camp and has turned it into a museum. He doesn't want to forget the atrocities committed by Hitler.
I know about Auschwitz, but I didn't know the Nazis had death camps here in France. Ahmed, how much longer until we get there?
Not too long. About 2 to 3 hours.
I wish we had headed out sooner.
Well, we'll be meeting with Ali Reza in the morning anyway.
So why did you choose to work in a place like this, at the concentration camp?
Well, someone has to do it. To illustrate what acts against mankind have taken place. I consider more than work. It is a responsibility.
I thought you might have another reason, a more personal reason.
You know, it isn't easy always having the loss of my comrades on my mind. Those that I lived in the same cell for many years. We cried on each other's shoulders. Those tears symbolize our love for our cause, for democracy and freedom. In these dungeons, I can almost see the lives that were lost, and their hope and dreams that turned into smoke and ashes at the hands of fascism. It is easier to deal with it all if we are not the only people who have struggled against injustice. and this, like a painkiller, soothes my ache. I remember Reza Filanik. His words still ring in my ear. He used to say that freedom comes at a price. I knew him from Gohardasht prison. He was arrested in 1981. I didn't know that that would be the last time I'll see him. We sat in the hallway, next to each other, waiting for our turn in court.
What's going on? Do you know?
No, but it seems they want to finish us all.
How can they do that? What will they tell people?
By the time people find out, there will be nothing left of us.
What are you talking about?
I was telling him to say hello to the neighborhood kids if he was ever released. We used to live in the same city.
Well, both of you will be free soon. Jerry Lewis, lying next to each other, side by side. Get up. You need to go to court.
Remember, freedom always comes at a price.
Get up.
He was right. But why are we the only ones that have to pay? At the beginning, they will use bulldozers to dig up mass graves for thousands and thousands at a time. But later, for whatever reason, they changed their minds and the people were poisoned by gas and cremated.
Do you believe that 6 million Jews were slaughtered?
There are no exact statistics, but surely there were more than thousands and even millions.
We are the Pardoning Committee, sent by special request of the Supreme Leader. If you meet the requirements, we may pardon you.
I was sentenced 10 years, and 7 have passed so far. The 3 years left aren't worth a pardon. I would rather serve this end of my sentence.
What have you been charged with?
A supporter of the organization.
It says you were sentenced to 10 years. Then you're not a suspect. You're a criminal.
It doesn't matter. They are both the same in your eyes. The point is, I'm stuck here for now.
So, what organization are you a follower of? The organization of gas and electric? Or a supporter of Monaferin?
Supporting gas and electric means I earn an income. It doesn't mean I will be forced to be doing time.
Yes. If you are a utility worker, you do get paid. So you are not a supporter of Monaferin?
No, Hajaga. I'm a supporter of the Mujahideen.
Take him away.
What is it?
They need you down here.
Wait here.
I knew that I was among the people who had already been taken to court. But I didn't know that we were standing in the hallway of death. The truth is, it hadn't yet clicked. I didn't grasp what was happening. I felt anxious. Maybe I had doubts.
Sit down,
I recognized him later on. It was Behzat Fatizanjani. To my left there was Mohammad Reza Shah Iftikhari. I was cellmates with Behzat for 3 years in Gezel Hessar and Mohammad Reza for 2 years in Gardasht.
What happened at the court? Who was there?
I'm worried. I have a bad feeling. I think they only call themselves the pardon committee.
Were you surprised?
They took 17 people out of our room. They never returned.
The cell is empty. They won't give up easily. Something's happening. Are you scared?
So that's it? After 7 years, this is your goodbye?
No. Revolution needs sacrifice and blood. And we have to give our blood. They didn't draw our names. We volunteered. Isn't that true?
Yeah. But we have been already sentenced, remember? We are sentenced by that bastard.
Who?
Nairi. The cleric judge in my first hearing. He was the one who sentenced me to 10 years.
I guess that would happen. Rather than figuring out a solution to our predicament, it was easier to wipe out our problems altogether.
That's the end of it?
No, it's just the beginning. Our blood in the future is the force that will uproot them.
Alright, last stop Gordash. Up against the wall, you thugs! Hands on the person in front of you!
At the end of the hallway there were stairs that were always bright with light. From under my blindfold I could see the hallway. It looked like a tunnel leading to the sun. Slowly I saw the line of young men disappear into the light until I could no longer hear their footsteps. It was after the evening prayers that they called in Behzat and Mohammad Reza. It was late, probably around 2 or 3. I was half awake when I heard Mushtaba's footsteps.
Syed Murtaza Yazdi? Get up.
I'm Hassan Murtazavi.
Hey, stupid. I said Syed Murtaza Yazdi.
They took him. He was with me. We're cellmates. They took him away with the last group.
What time?
I don't even know what time it is now. 1 or 2 hours ago.
Ahmad! Ahmad!
Yes, Ali.
Get up here, hurry.
He's lost it.
Shut up! Be quiet. Shh.
What's happening, Haji?
Syed Murtaza Yazdi. What happened to him?
You mean the short one? The short, stocky one?
Yeah, that's him. What happened to him?
I told them to send him with the Goradashtis from the hall about half an hour ago.
My God. Take them to the solitaries upstairs.
Who was Syed Murtaza Yazdi?
They say his father is a mullah, that he works for the government. God rest his soul. His cellmates say he was in complete opposition of the regime. He didn't get along with his father. He wouldn't even see his father when he would come to visit him in prison. He would refuse to see him unless his mother had come as well. His death was the root of my survival. Someone I had never met, someone I had never even seen before. They led us to the solitary 325 in sets of 2. Hassan and I were taken together. In the corner of the cell, I fell asleep with my head on my knees when Hassan woke me up.
Ali Reza.
What?
It's Morse code.
Morse?
It says it's Mansur Hariri.
It's Mansur Hariri.
Did you know him?
Mansour had a master's in physics. We were together for a year in Gohardasht. He was very smart, brave and kind. He had an amazing memory.
Once he told me that he knew more than 1,000 phone numbers by heart.
I think it was close to morning, probably around 4 or 5, when he sent us a list of
everyone who was executed thus far. I can't remember how many names he sent us through the Morse code.
Riza Sabet Raftar, Ruhollah Hadavand Mirzai, Ashkar Mohammedi Khabazan, Haydar Sadeghi, Saeed Salemi, Ali Hagbardi, Hadi Azizi, Abbas Afghan, Morteza Madani.
Get up.
Me?
You.
Pull up your blindfold. Open your eyes.
The shock was so great that, without feeling any pain, I was knocked unconscious. I don't know how much time passed till I woke. When I opened my eyes, Moshtaba was standing above me. He said, "Now you can give your friends the news, not with the Morse. You can yell it out loud. Tell them the Mujahideen is dead. Tell them they have been buried. It is either repentance or death." He was pale and sweating, shocked when he spoke. I'd never seen him like that before. The resistance was driving them crazy. They were exhausted from killing. We gave our blood. They were the ones that suffered. From the kids that I saw hanging in the death hall, 3 of them I knew personally. Abbas Rezai, Ahmad Nuramin, Nasser Mansouri. 3 months after I was released, my father died. It was as he was waiting for me to be freed. He had 2 heart attacks while I was away. The 3rd he had in the hospital when I was with him. Before getting over the sting of my father's death, Aziz passed on not long after, without a funeral, without any type of memory. It's not that I didn't love them, I adored Aziz. She wasn't just my mother, she was like an angel. But even her death didn't bring me to tears. I was never good at crying. And even now, it is not because of the loss of my comrades that I shed these tears. We are all have to go eventually, but it is their innocence. Keep me from controlling myself. Bastards did worse things to them than anyone did to anybody in history.
اون که از داس شقاوت میچکه خون ستاره، لاله ها به جرم سرخی تنشون تیکه و پارست، پشت سر کشتار باغ روبرو شب نعره باد، خاک ما اما هنوزم فکر رویشی دوباره، زیر سوز تازیانه قامت سروای آزاد، از اوین تا عادل آباد عدل و داده رفته برباد، صف طولانی معراج از قفس تا پل پرواز، تو سکوت دالون مرگ عشقی که میخونه آواز، باز افق به رنگ خون عاشقاست، چشم بیداری این دنیا کجاست، میشکنه سکوت سرد میله ها، بشنو این فریاد بی صدای ماست. تق مرز پای دیوار، هم سفر خدا نگهدار، آخرین حرفا رو بنویس روی یک کاغذ سیگار، تن چار پای میلرزه زیر گام آخر عشق، رقص بیتابه سردار نغمه احیاگر عشق، باز افق به رنگ خون عاشقاست، چشم بیداری این دنیا کجاست، میشکنه سکوت سرد میله ها، بشنو این فریاد بی صدای ما.
Has something happened?
Gotta get back home as soon as possible.
Is there something wrong?
During the Holocaust, the Jews that were captured were all intended to be killed because of their race or religion. But during the massacre of '88 in Iran, the political prisoners had the ability to save themselves. In my opinion, well, I don't know how to put this. Why did they choose to die?
Throughout history, our nation realized that freedom cannot be achieved without sacrifice. It is impossible to reach this ideal without resistance.
Thank you, Mom. Thanks for taking me with you when you left that hellhole. Thank you.
اون که از داس شقاوت میچکه خون ستاره است، لاله ها به جرم سرخی تنشون تیکه و پاره است، پشت سر کشتار باغ روبرو شب نعره باد، خاک ما اما هنوزم فکر رویشی دوباره است، زیر سوز تازیانه قامت سروای آزاد، از اوین تا عادل آباد عدل و داد رفته برباد، صف طولانی معراج از قفس تا پل پرواز، تو سکوت دالون من عشق که میخونه آواز، باز افق به رنگ خون عاشقاست، چشم بیداری این دنیا کجاست، میشکنه سکوت سرد میله ها، بشنو این فریاد بی صدای ماست. تق مرز پای دیوار، هم سفر خدا نگهدار، آخرین حرفا رو بنویس روی یک کاغذ سیگار، تن چار پای میلرزه زیر گام آخر عشق، رقص بیتابه سردار نغمه احیاگر عشق، باز افق به رنگ خون عاشقاست، چشم بیداری این دنیا کجاست، میشکنه سکوت سرد میله ها، بشنو این فریاد بی صدای ماست، بشنو این فریاد بی صدای ما.